The president has been fully vaccinated. He had 2 booster shots. He was doing everything by precaution, wearing his mask. Moreover, the most had been wearing their masks, of course, prior to this. But it was an issue I raised with Dr. Anthony Fauci about why this keeps happening. People who get cases, sometimes repeat cases, in a world where we're told we're over this thing. Take a look. Everyone knows someone who's gotten this again, and sometimes again after that, and they're beginning to wonder about the regimen for treating it. Whether you get 2 vaccination shots, whether you get a booster, another booster, they just don't know. What do you tell them?
There's no doubt that the vaccines themselves, particularly vaccine plus a booster at the appropriate time when you become eligible for a booster, for more than 1 booster. If you're over 50 years old, you get eligibility for 2 boosters. One of the things that's clear from the data, that even though vaccines, because of the high degree of transmissibility of this virus, don't protect overly well, as it were, against infection, they protect quite well against severe disease leading to hospitalization and death.
All right, so the gist of what Dr. Fauci was saying, it could be a lot worse, maybe for the president himself. Admiral Brett Giroir joins us. Of course, you remember the good admiral, the former Department of Health and Human Services Assistant Secretary for Health, and much, much more. When all of this exploded during the Trump administration, he was one of the key point men in that. Admiral, very good to have you. Thank you.
Good to be here.
Let me ask you a little bit about what Dr. Fauci touched on, that we've since seen proven out again and again. People who've been fully vaccinated, some even getting both their booster shots, and still come down with this. With the argument, I guess, being it could have been worse. Could it have been worse?
Well, yes, I agree with Dr. Fauci. Tony and I are on the same page here, is that with the new variants, the vaccines, unfortunately, provide very little protection against getting infected with COVID, but they still do provide substantial protection against severe disease, like needing to be put in the hospital or death. So what you see with the president, just like everyone else, despite his double booster, he still got COVID because of the transmissibility of the variant. We're all hopeful, as the data would suggest, that because he's vaccinated and certainly on Paxlovid, he can avoid a serious illness.
Full disclosure here, and Doctor, you know this, I've had COVID. I had it twice. The second time was a little dicey in intensive care and all of that. Now, I'm part of the vulnerable part of the population with a compromised immune system. Well, I don't want to get into all of that. But I was a little surprised that I did everything right, followed the letter of the medical law, and still came down with a pretty bad bout of this. And a lot of Americans, no doubt, are seeing this and hearing this today and saying the President of the United States, the most powerful man on the planet, surrounded by the best medical people probably on the planet, and he comes down with it. Hell no, I'm not getting vaccinated, or I'm done with this whole thing. What do you tell them?
Well, what I tell them is, what I tell my family and what I tell myself is that vaccines will provide strong protection against serious illness, hospitalization, and death if you have a normal immune system, or even a modestly abnormal immune system. But it's not a guarantee. A vaccine doesn't put a force field around you. So it's very important to have a plan. And many people don't have a plan to get treated with Paxlovid or the Merck drug molnupiravir, and they really need that. If you're elderly, if you have chronic diseases, you really do need that layer of protection like the president got. Again, nothing's 100% in medicine or in life, I guess except taxes, but Paxlovid and molnupiravir on top of vaccines provide you the best opportunity.
But you know, a lot of people are also confused. If we're going to treat this, and I know during your administration, sir, and then into this one, there had been an argument that maybe we start treating this as we do the flu. You get an annual shot, maybe 2 shots here, but that would be it. You know, Novavax now has a vaccine out. We'll talk to that company's CEO. It's the 4th vaccine to deal with this. He says it will be something promising for the 20% or so of the population that's not been vaccinated. But some are looking at that and saying, we go through this again and again and again. This is worse than the flu thing. This is multiple shots, multiple boosters, multiple pain in the neck. What do you tell them?
Well, I'm not saying we're going to be there, but remember, we need flu shots every year because flu is very variable, and we still lose 20, 30, 50, 60,000 Americans from flu every year. So I don't want to make too much analogy.
But Admiral, I think this seems more than the flu, because it wouldn't be just 1 shot, right? I mean, some of these guys are saying every 3 months, 6 months. Well, what are there any rules on this? I know it's constantly changing.
Well, look, the data don't show, and I don't think we're going to be there, that we're going to need doses every 3, 6, 9 months. I just don't think that's right. We have to understand that the vaccines won't be perfect protection. I am very hopeful, though, with an Omicron-specific vaccine. Remember, even though we've had variants, this is still the main Omicron strain. And when we do get an Omicron vaccine, it would hopefully provide us much better protection. Novavax, very positive about Novavax. I think that's a great new weapon into the game that will soon be available. And it's a different type of vaccine, and we'll have to see how that coverage wears out. Or not, or is more durable.
Understood. I'd just be curious, now they're looking into exactly who met the president when, where they shook hands with him, how close they got, all part of the contact tracing thing. He's been all over the world, as you know, Admiral. Met with leaders, in Saudi Arabia and Israel, some of the Palestinian Authority, et cetera, to say nothing of campaign stops, including one just yesterday. Who is most vulnerable in that group? And does it, in fact, go back a week ago before he was officially, diagnosed with this today?
So we don't know when time zero was, but one thing we can be sure of, and they said it this morning, that he was diagnosed on an antigen test. And particularly with the Omicron variants and the current variants of Omicron, BA4, BA5, he could have been positive and infectious for several days before he became positive on that test. So, going back a week is a really long time, but certainly in the 2 or 3 days before he became positive by an antigen test, he could have been transmitting the virus to other people. So everyone who'd been close to him are at risk. But, I think we all have to assume we're at some degree of risk and need to have our guard up, because it is out there very prominently throughout the country with these variants.
Yeah, and you never know. To your point, Admiral Giroir, thank you very much and for your service to this country, sir. Much appreciated. Admiral Giroir, on all of that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.